Hi. Good evening. Good evening. I just know what it is. Do, 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 do. Ooh, la, 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 ooh. Oof. So I don't know if you guys saw this shit. AOC tweeting abolish ICE, but planning to vote for a Joe Biden budget that increases ICE's funding over the Trump years. Cheers. I'm not gonna lie, when shit like that happens, there's part of me that goes, because it's just the shit that I've been saying. Her second vote to increase law enforcement funding, yes, this year. Nah, man. Like, I could start a fire tonight, but there's really no point. Like, it's summertime, so it's not like it's cold enough to really necessitate one. What was her first again? She and the squad actually came together to vote as a bloc to increase police funding. This was a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember exactly what the auspices were. Or the reason. Starting pants fires? Such is life, dude. What are you gonna do? It sucks being wrong about this shit, but it's actually kind of fun being right about it. Hot take. Hot take. What are you throwing up stop signs for me for, dude? Don't be fucking emoji spamming in my shit. This ain't a goddamn fucking Twitch chat. Everybody just got this goddamn fucking desire to spam fucking emojis. Emojis, they gotta go. They gotta go, guys. Let's be real about this. Emojis have got to fucking go. They have dumbed down human discourse to the point where nobody even knows how to say, like, I love you, you're a good friend anymore. It's all like little fucking smiley faces with hearts around them and shit. That doesn't mean shit. It's like dumbed down human interaction, a dumbed down human fucking communication, a meaningful communication, to a fucking goddamn smiley face that could be fucking like interpreted 15 ways. You know what I mean? It's just. Without emojis, how are we supposed to communicate complex feelings like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I can understand like how they used to be used. Like when I was a kid, they were used to augment what you were saying. Like when emojis first popped out, they weren't even emojis yet. There were symbols for them. Like you would use a colon and a closed parentheses for a smile, a semicolon and a closed parentheses for a wink, a colon and a open parentheses for a frown. Everything was sideways, right? And all of these little symbols were used to like connote a smile or a frown or anger. You could do like a closing curly bracket, a fucking, fucking whatever, and then the smile. So you make like an angry face, you can make a sad face, you can make a concerned face. Like I knew how to do a few of these, and when I was in my 20s, that's what we used to like say like, hey, I'm smiling, hey, I'm laughing. XD, yeah. XD's from back in the day. Like that's how we used to put an XD to connote that we were like laughing hella hard. Right? And those things, like, they allowed us to connote not necessarily tone, but reaction. And now it's everything, right? The emoji is supposed to be tone. Yeah, that one there, the little fucking angry guy with the mouth, like, hey, like all that shit. Like, anyway, it was meant to like augment the tone of what you were saying. And now it's like, the smiley face is the tone. The emoji is the tone. It's just kind of thrown out there. Yeah, like that one too. Just all the different little ways of doing it. And that shit I liked. I liked that. I thought that was kind of useful. But the smiley face shit. Ooh woo. Ooh woo. They're still commonly used in games. Yeah, games that have like text chat and shit. Don't have emojis. Everybody's throwing in their favorite emojis. Their little emoticons or whatever they want to call them. Titties. What were some of the leaked terms from Ultima Online? I mean, that was just about it. Like going red meant being a PK. I don't know. I can't remember all the lingo and shit. It's been fucking too many years. There's definitely some leet speak going on for sure. Owned. That was a big thing back then. Be like, you got fucking owned, you got pwned, you got boned. I like it because I can either mean I'm happy or I'm going to slit your throat in your sleep or I want to kill myself. I mean, that's the problem with it. is that it's become like these emojis have become a catch-all for what exactly? I don't know. We used to say zoont. You want the shorted version, like pwned became PWND, and then that became ZWNT. Zoont. Like if you got pwned, you got fucking zoned. That's an old one. Let's go smonk this doink and get zooted. Yeah, dude, let's do it. Let's zoot it up. Zoot suit riot. Throw back a bottle of beer, bro. Oh yeah, dude. The passive aggressivity of most emojis. I love them. The self-congratulatory nature of some emojis, like so many emojis are self-backpats that aren't necessary or aren't deserved. It's like somebody will write some shit that's not all that funny or insightful and then follow it with a fucking raffle mayo emoji. Like not just the guy laughing, but the guy like laughing so hard he's falling over, and you're just like, did your little smiley guy take laughing gas? Because it definitely wasn't the joke that did that to him, right? Like if you put a raffle mayo smiley at the end of something that isn't, yeah, that one. That's the guy, that guy. You put a raffle mayo smiley or whatever the fuck at the end of something, it better goddamn well be fucking a joke. You know what I mean? It better be hilarious shit. You better blow my goddamn fucking head off with that joke. It better be hilarious. Or you personally better find it so goddamn funny that you're actually rolling on the floor laughing. Come on, catch up. It's just like, man, dude, this like laugh at my own jokes thing has become like that. The internet doesn't realize it, but it's like the lamest fucking thing in the world when you laugh at your own jokes constantly. Like because it's like social manipulation. So you say a joke and then you like start laughing and you're trying to evoke in the audience a sympathy laugh. And so you take that, right? You take that principle, the ability to evoke sympathy laughs. Thanks, Noxie Osborne. The ability to evoke sympathy laughs, and then you fucking extrapolate it out to the internet. Everybody just thinks that long as I slap a fucking raffle mayo at the end of my shit, that means everybody else will join it. You know. Whoa, Noxie Osborne. You're $1 bombing me. Please clap. Please clap. Please laugh. Please giggle. Dude, look at Noxie Osborne go. He's making it rain. He got the singles. He went to the bank and got the singles, and he's making it rain right now. He's like, clapping them cheeks. He's going, dude. He's going. Look at him go. Please clap for the specters, me lord. Please clap. Yeah, dude. Raffle mayo better be like Bill Hicksy in comedy, or else. Noxie Osborne just fucking landed out tonight. He brought his hoe food. Damn, the dollar bill's just kicking it. Everybody splashing out tonight. Everybody making it fucking rain tonight. Look at this shit. What is this, man? Stripper shit. Look at it. God damn. This is what a stripper feels like. Feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I love you, Paul, but you're kind of a douche. It's okay. I am too. I mean, you know what I mean? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to fix that? You know? Thanks, though, Noxie. And all of you. Look at this. You guys are making it rain. You're making it rain singles up in here tonight. Look at this shit. God damn. I better start working the pole here in a minute. Holy fuck. Look at you guys go. Showering it. Thank you. Thank you all for the buck. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That little shower of money right there, I'm spending that on weed. That's going on weed. I'm buying weed. Thanks, Ray Gunner Gaming. Thanks everybody else that sent the buck. little strip club action going on in here tonight. Thanks, Smrots. Smrots. You were kind of mean to that one trans woman. What trans woman was I mean to? Jamie? Come on. Come on. Give me a break. Give me a fucking break with that shit. Making it rain. Blood of your enemies, my lord. Thank you. Thank you. Hacks. Oh, shit. 1337. Fuck. Oh, my God, dude. Did you backtrace my fucking internet connection? Did you hack my botnet, dude? Did you hack my botnet? Mess with the best, die like the rest. Zero cool. Thanks for the peach booty and the poopy. You guys are so nice. Why are you guys being so nice tonight? What's going on? I almost feel like Carrie at the prom. Like, are you guys about to dump a fucking bunch of pig blood on me and shit? Thank you. Thank you, tension slap. It's a trap. It's a trap. You guys are trying to distract me, aren't you? I knew it. Isn't it crazy that he was once considered selling out has become all mainstream artists' acceptable behavior? Katy Perry was literally introduced as brought to you by Pepsi for years. I mean, that predates this era. Michael Jackson was basically the first pop star to be owned by corporations. Michael Jackson was owned by the Disney Corporation, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all these big brands. He did tons and tons of commercial work. His arena tours were often sponsored by a big corporation, Pepsi, Coke. So, in my opinion, it started back with the advent of cable. Well, yeah, like Ann Prim said, I was going to say the advent of cable TV, but MTV was what came along with that, right? that really started this move to really super commercialize rock. And I honestly think it led to rock going belly up. That's why rock music is muted these days, and hip hop and rap and shit have become ascendant. Video killed the radio star, indeed. In my mind and in my car, we can't rewind, we've gone too far. Oh. My donation to Scientology. Great episode today. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, that did turn out to be a real fun episode today. For those that don't know, our big Scientology episode. Long time coming. You know, you guys that are Highdeology folks have heard me talk about Scientology a lot. But I've never collated all of that into a big episode. We ended up doing a big, long, like over 2 hour long episode on Scientology. My favorite part of the episode is when I process TJ. It's actually something that I wanted to do for longer in the episode, but I didn't really prep TJ and Scotty for it, and I thought that people might be bored with it. So I did some very quick processing with TJ, and he was very receptive to it. Like, he admitted that just going through it, an incident in his past twice with me using Scientology processing on him, he felt better. Like, it lifted a little bit of the pain from that incident that we were going over. He was going over an incident when he was a kid where another kid was mean to him and ostracized him in front of his friends, and he beat that kid up. And how he felt rage at the moment that he was punching the kid, but how he felt sad after it was done. So you have this range of human emotion in this old incident from TJ's past. And that was a button that I found on TJ. He gave it to me willingly because I started. Now, a lot of people, if you watch this episode, you will think that if you watch the processing part of the episode, you will think that I started on something that I couldn't go forward with TJ on accidentally and then moved to his childhood. That's not what I did. I started with something that I knew TJ was not going to be willing to talk about publicly, so that he was immediately willing to go to the worst thing about his childhood, right? So it was like that was part of getting TJ prepared to speak to me about this old incident that went down with him. So if you go watch that, the whole thing from when I start processing TJ to the very end of it is manipulation. I brought up a vastly more personal thing first to get TJ's mind in the mode of like, well, I don't want to really share that with the public. So I started asking him, think about a time when somebody betrayed you. That's an entirely adult question, right? That TJ is going to be very reticent to answer publicly when he knows that we're recording a show. But I asked it first because it got his mind into the mode of like overshare. He was about to share. And then I said, no. Let me do one that you can actually answer. I wouldn't have you go into that in public. Think about something that you've done in your childhood that was bad. Boom. So at that point, it was almost like psychological respite for TJ to be able to run away from this other question, which is an adult question. Nobody wants to fucking share that intimate of a detail with somebody in front of a bunch of audience, right, without thinking. So it was almost like I gave him a tough question and then I gave him an easier question. So he was way more receptive with the easier question. It's part of the technique. It's part of psychological manipulation. Scientologists use it all the time. They'll cut right to the quick with a question that you don't want to answer on the cans, don't want to answer during processing, and then give you a softer one, and you're just like, okay, well, as long as we're not talking about that. Boom, 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 boom. And it really worked on him. Like, he really took it seriously. He closed his eyes, rooted himself. He was going through it. We went through the incident one time and he told a very cursory story. Like, he told a very, very cursory version of the story, right? A very quick, oh yeah, detectives do it. It's an interrogation technique. It's a manipulation technique that's used by sociopaths in order to get what they want. It's a gaslighting technique. Like, it can be used in all kinds of ways. None of them, hardly any of them are good. But it also touches on Freudian psychoanalysis, right? It's the sitting and talking about these incidents that have happened to you in your past allows you to eventually contextualize them. Were you a Scientologist? No. I've just spent about a decade or so, probably a little longer now, being intensely interested in Scientology to the point where I've learned a lot of their technique. You're a great wise sage. Take my shitty Canadian money. All right, buddy. Thank you. Exactly. This is a softer, this technique of getting people to talk about themselves is not Scientology based. It's just manipulation based. It's psychology based. Technique. Why are you spamming in my chat, bro? Manipulate me. It'd be kind of hard. I'd have to get you on the phone. Like, I'd have to get you in a fucking, at least in the room, right? We'd have to talk. And you would have to come and do it in good faith as well. Like, TJ obviously was coming at it in good faith, wanted to actually demonstrate it, and so his mind was open to the idea of going through it, and that allowed us to demonstrate what Scientologists call blowing charge. Just finished tonight's episode. Jesus Christ, you could do an entire series on it. You have me in trance every time you speak even slightly about Scientology. Wow, it is what it is. I just know a lot about it. Those of you in the chat that don't have a fucking profile pic, please go get one. I don't want to have to ban people just because they don't have profile pics, especially now that the rules are so well known. So let's be adults about it tonight, yes? There's a couple of you chatting it up in the chat tonight. No PFPs. Next time I see you, you're going to be banned. So just go get them, yeah? Don't be stupid. It's a rule. There's a reason it's a rule. Have you guys considered a Mormon episode yet? Yeah. I appreciate it. I appreciate you getting a PFP. I think there's no mods here tonight. Right after Dark Nook posts, there's always a mod here. You ain't got to worry about it, bro. Yeah, I know you don't, but did we do a Mormon episode? Yeah, we did. You're right. We did. Yeah, no, it's all good, Dark Knight. No worries. It's nice to see you. It's been a while. I know right after I posted it. Yeah, we did a Joseph Smith episode. I remember that. Yeah, Lilburn Boggs was in that one. So we really have like what I would consider an ongoing series now that I've done about cults. We have Mormonism, which I consider to be a cult. We have the People's Temple. We did a People's Temple Jonestown episode. What else have we done cult-wise, right? We did the active cults episode for patrons. So that I did that one. I said we. I did that one. That was yeah, we did Waco. Um, I feel like I'm missing one. Oh yeah, we did Heaven's Gate. That's right. We did a Heaven's Gate episode. And now Scientology. So we've done, I've done over the course of the years 6 or maybe even more episodes on cults. So, yep. And a yeah. That's right. We did a David Koresh and a Waco episode. You're right. Have you done Manson? No, we have not. That might be an interesting one to do. Obviously, one of the more publicized cult figures. Yeah, we did one on the party switch. That's tangentially cultish. QAnon, that'd be another interesting one maybe to do down the road a piece. I think there's still more in the QAnon story. Did we do Manson? Yeah, we did. You're right. We listened to his music and shit. So that's just another one. Religions are just cults with a large following. Christianity started as a cult, but what number of followers makes a cult a religion? Well, that's the big question, right? That's why cult is a word that, you shouldn't throw. I mean, all religions were cults back in the day. In fact, they used to unapologetically call themselves cults back in ancient Greece. There's the cult of Dionysus, the cult of Sisyphus, the cult of this, the cult of that, right? These were people that worshipped gods or men adjacent to gods. So, the cult of Aphrodite. Cult really didn't used to mean something different back then. It's just been brought forward into the world, and from a Judeo-Christian perspective, cults are bad, obviously, because they're polytheistic. Cthulhu cult, yeah. Hey there, Cthulhu, down there in your sunken city. You're a million light years distant, but the stars look very pretty from Rillier. So close and yet so far away. E-A. And when the stars are right, you'll come and do your worst. And I know that if I'm lucky, it's the cultists, or you'll eat the cultists like me first when you get here. I know the day is drawing near, and I have no fear. My hair smells like mayonnaise? No, it doesn't, bro. Oh, dude, my hair smells good. Dude, if I was around me, I would sniff me like Biden. I'd be a Biden sniffer of myself all the time. I would constantly have my nose buried in this. Fingli Magluna Cthulhu Relay. Unu Fatagan. It really is a mouthful. Yeah, it really bakes my noggin when I say. So close and yet so far away. E-A. It's the craziest thing you've seen in the night sky. Craziest thing. I remember the first time my stepdad showed me satellites. I didn't realize until I was a teenager that you could see satellites at night. I remember we were on like a camping trip, and he and I were up and everybody else had passed out. We were just chilling, and he's like, come over here and like lay on your back and look at the sky with me. He's like, if you let your eyes adjust to this, you'll be able to see satellites. And I was like, what? See satellites? To me, that didn't make any fucking sense. And I was like, whatever. So we laid kind of on this rocky outcropping, and we just talked shit, laid on our backs next to each other and looked at the sky. And sure enough, after a while up there, you know, in the mountains with no ambient light pollution and shit, or very little, as our eyes adjusted to it, all of a sudden he said, there's one. And I was like, where? And he pointed at it, and sure enough, there's like a star that looked like it was just moving across the sky. Slowly and in a super straight line. And I was like, yeah, that's a satellite. I was like, what? And I remember I saw like 15 or 20 satellites that night. And to me, that's fucking awesome. I also got to see the comet. I've actually got to see two comets. When I was very young, Halley's Comet came through, which is something that I won't ever see in my lifetime again. And I don't know if I, you know what I mean, appreciated it or not. And then there was another comet back, I believe, in the 90s or the early 2000s. I can't remember that comet's name. But yeah. I remember looking at the sky with my ex, watching her be completely not interested. And when I was pointing out all the constellations, not for everyone I understand, but I was a bit disappointed. Yeah. Not everybody has the same sense of wonder about the sky and shit and the night and all that. But yeah, dude, I'll just, like, I'm the type of person that I could just, if I find a comfortable spot and a good view, which is like, I haven't lived in a place that has a really good star view in a long time. And so it's usually when I'm on vacation somewhere remote that I get a really good look at the stars. But when I can find myself a really comfortable place to stare at a patch of sky at night, I mean, that to me is like all I want to do. You let your eyes get totally adjusted to the low light, stare at the sky, you can see the fucking Milky Way, bro. You can see the spiral arm that we're on and the fucking Milky Way behind it. It's fucking insane. Yeah, I get the feeling that we do probably draw stargazers as Hydeologites. I'd imagine that we put out that energy. You've never seen the naked sky like that? You got to go up in the mountains. You got to plan it out, though, because the moon phase is a lot to do with that. So you want to make sure that you go to the mountains on a new moon or like an early crescent. A waxing moon or a late waning moon, you know what I mean? So when are we going? Where do you want to go, sis? I gotta be honest with you, like, you should call me up because, no, I know. you should call me up, because the truth of the matter is that I got some time off coming up here. So you should, well, fucking hey, give me a fucking buzz. I don't know about this weekend, but let's see what we can do. Let's plan up a fucking trip. We may as well. By the way, my sister in the chat here. For those that don't know. Yeah, give me a buzz. I mean, yeah, dude. We don't have to get super duper fucking crazy with it. You got to remember, like, I'm old and busted. So I can't be doing no fucking crazy hiking up to some fucking giant mountain peak fucking shit. Like, you got to remember that. Remember, I'm busted. Like, I can't be doing no crazy shit. But yeah, no, why not? Why not go fucking camping somewhere where there's not fucking light pollution, and let's see the sky. Yeah, dude, the ripe old age of 41. Nah, yeah, you're famous. Famous as fuck. There ain't no mountains here in these parts, so that's a shame. That's a goddamn crying shame right there. Yeah, Dinky Creek, yeah, for sure. We could do it. 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 As long as we don't get burnt up. I don't want to go somewhere and get caught in a goddamn fire like Angelina Jolie in that new movie. I want to be stuck in the fire, yo. I can't do it. No, I'd be way down. I'd be way down to plan some shit. Get some camping done. Especially now that we're all fucking vaccinated and shit. Take some weed up there. Dude, that's... Oh, man. If I could get me some mushrooms, though. That's where you want to pop the mushrooms. I might have to make some phone calls. I might have to call in some old favors and see what the psilocybin situation is where I'm at. Because that sounds like something that you need some mushrooms for. I pop a fistful and just lay on my back and watch the stars. That's the move. Yeah. Are you fucking dead serious? All right, let's not do a whole deal over the phone, but if that's true, fucking... We're gang. We're gang, dude. We're gang. Holy shit. I tattooed a wacky painter dude that smuggled strawberry mescaline into Canada in the 80s to watch the Northern Lights. Sounded dope. Oh, I bet that was dope. Oh, yeah, dude. Based sister, indeed. I love you too, sis. Yeah, dude. My ex said he was abducted by aliens. Maybe he was. I don't know. Sibling goals. Yeah, no, me. Like I have. Like I've told you guys, I have technically 5 sisters. The sister before you, my sister Sarah, is really the only one that isn't insane. I don't mean to shit talk my other sisters, but Sarah and I, for some reason, we came out of the whole fucking mess of our childhood pretty much the same. We're a pair. We're a couple of stoners, you know. So what do you do? What can you do in that situation? Could imagine having that many sisters. Good times, great oldies, dude. It's a good thing about being back closer to where I grew up. You barely talk to your sister. That's a shame. I mean, me and Sarah don't talk all the fucking time, but we got that kind of relationship where we don't necessarily have to. When we talk, we talk. Like, I haven't heard from Sarah in a minute, but sounds like we're going to do some fucking camping. I look so high. I'm fucking pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked. That's what I do out here, though. I sit out here and I get baked. Talk about stupid shit. My sister got preggo with a happy accident. Good for your sister. That's a great thing. A sibling rivalry with my sis right now. Our egos always clash. We got all that shit out of our fucking... You know what I mean? We got that shit out of our system as kids, dude. All that sibling rivalry shit, all that shit happened when we were kids. Because it was like a hot box. When we fucking, like, it was me and Sarah, my other two sisters, all living under the same roof. That's when all the sibling rivalry shit fucking came out. Nowadays, I don't really think there's any of that shit going on. As adults, we've all kind of got our own shit going on, you know what I mean? And I don't really feel like there's a rivalry, but maybe there is. Maybe I'm just unaware of it. If there is, I'm not part of it. I'm not rivaling. I don't care. I mean, I care that everybody's doing well, but I'm glad everybody's doing their own shit. Who got the burger in the face? That would be my biological sister. So I don't think of my sisters, especially those on my stepdad's side, as stepsisters. I think of them as my sisters. So we grew up together. We were kids together and shit. But they are technically my stepsisters. So Sarah is a stepsister of mine. So yeah, my biological sister is the one that got the burger to the face. She's the one that ate a jumbo jack the hard way one night. She was engaged in what the kids nowadays call some thoughtery. She and some thoughts had gotten drunk in my bedroom, and I was sick. Little did I know, coming down with mononucleosis sick. And all I wanted to do was lay in my bed, but she decided that she was gonna, what do they call it? Do some like weekend hoe shit and get drunk and pass out in my fucking bedroom. And that's, you know what I mean? That's what got yeah. She was doing some, like, weekends are for hoe shit, right? She was doing some hoe shit. And, whatever. It didn't work out. Did she hook you up with her friends? There was one of her friends that I got hooked up with in high school. But you have to understand, she was a freshman when I was a senior. So that's how far apart I am from my sister that I'm talking about. We're almost exactly 3 years and change apart. So she was coming in as a freshman. I was a senior. I've told you guys that story about how I chased after the same chick all throughout fucking high school. And then when my sister and her friends, who it was a little weird because, you know, my little sister's friends, I'd known them since they were fucking, but she had a lot of friends, and this particular friend I didn't know all that well. And she was a chick that she had a fucking crush on me from back in the day, back when she was in middle school and I was in high school. She got into fucking high school, and my sister kind of facilitated us. And we didn't really date, but you know what I mean. We went around or whatever for a little while. It was kind of fucked up because I was really just using her to make the other girl jealous. And like that shit, like dude, when it comes to like doing some dirty dog shit, you know what I mean? Some dirty dog shit. That's the dirtiest shit I ever did. You know, I got it out of my system in high school, but that was just some absolute zero morals shit that I did, dude. That was fucked up. Not gonna lie to you, that was not cool. None of that shit was good. Oh yeah, that's fucked. It's fucked. I mean, what are you gonna do? I did it. Tis what it is. That burger in the face symbolizes the fast food industry has done to America, kind of, yeah. We've all done some shit, sure. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's just like, some people carry that type of shit, because that, to me, is high school shit. Exactly. It's high school shit, right? But there are a lot of people that carry that high school shit into their fucking personal lives as adults. And it's like, one thing to be a horny teenager and to like pretend you're Prince Machiavelli real quick and pretend you're interested in one girl to get another girl all worked up and shit. But it's another thing to go out into the fucking world as an adult and still play games like that with people. It's like, I mean, I'm not judging you if you're in your 20s and shit and still messing around like that. That's what the 20s are for. All right. But like, if you're 25 and moving out of that fucking childhood phase, you need to start really thinking about stop playing games with people, yo. It sucks. I've had guys take me out on a date, tell me a couple of days later he was still married and going through a divorce. Dude, I was on the other end of that shit. The last time I was single, we talked about this shit. I started talking to Amelia, but she didn't come at me like, I'm going to be your girlfriend or anything. She told me straight up from the beginning, like, I've got a boyfriend. And so I knew that, you know, at that time, it wasn't going anywhere. There's this other chick I was talking to at the same fucking time. Cute, Hispanic chick. She was closer to my age. Like, she was close to 30. She was like 27 or 28. You know what I mean? That's old for me. Anyway, she's like 28. Cute, short little Hispanic chick. We were hitting it off. And then, you know, we're talking on Instagram and DMs and shit like that. We had each other's number. We'd exchange numbers and shit. And text every once in a while. And she one day, like, she had usually would text me, and one day she hadn't, and I texted her some shit. I was like, hey, what's up? She was like, I'm feeling guilty. And I was like, here it comes. I knew right then. I was like, let me guess what you're feeling guilty about. If I guess, will you tell me? She was like, yeah. I said, you have a boyfriend, or you're married, or some shit. And she's like, how did you know? I was like, call it intuition. You know, what are you going to do? That is part of the problem of dating when you get older that people don't realize. Is like me as a guy that I spent a lot of time, like I was married for a long time and then I was not married for a long time. Now I'm married again. But that during that not married period, you learn like there are people out there that are desperate for like some kind of little getaway from their life. A lot of people that are looking to have like a side piece, basically, right? And like to be quite honest with you, were I single, or we're talking hypothetically here. Let's say that I hadn't met Amelia or it hadn't worked out with us, wasn't married, and I was playing the field and shit. Like I don't know that I would necessarily have a problem being a side piece. And I don't know if that makes me like, now I could definitely never go beyond just a physical real, like, we just meet and hook up or whatever the fuck. But there's something about me where it's like, I wouldn't feel fucked up helping someone cheat. I mean, maybe that's like a lapse in my morality when it comes to this shit, but I don't, like, I would not feel fucked up fucking a married person like that under the right circumstances, right? Like not in every circumstance, but they're in the worse wrong than you would be. Well, I don't even see me in that situation being wrong. Like I don't have anything to do with anybody's marriage. Does it make a difference if they have kids? Yes. That to me would be a consideration. Like if I was gonna wreck a whole ass home, that to me I probably would have trouble doing. But to be quite frank with you, and this is not, I'm not trying to be fucking like negative towards people that have kids. I would never even fucking date somebody that has a kid. To me, that's, I have a boyfriend is not a deal breaker. I have a child is a deal breaker. I don't mean to be mean about it. I'm just not looking to be anybody's daddy. So it's like, I can't even fucking fool around with that shit. So that would almost preclude me from breaking up that type of a family. What if the kid's 17? That's different. A grown ass kid, but even then, like if you've got like a grown ass kid, dude, I was a fucking, I was uniquely burdensome on my parents after the age of fucking 18. But a lot of kids are fucking, they stay home, they fucking go to college for another 4 years. I don't want to deal with that shit. I ain't trying to be some fucking angsty 17-year-old stepdaddy. Sorry. I don't mean to be mean about it, but it's just like my life is not that. I can't do that. I don't want it. I don't want to. I just don't want it. I'm not built for that. I'm a better like uncle. I'll be I'm good to my nieces and nephews. I'm good as an uncle. I don't need no kids. Sorry. I just can't do it. Maybe I would have been a good dad. Who knows? There was a point in time in my life where I was of the age, I had the type of job, I was married, I was trying. I tried. Found out that I couldn't. It was kind of a body blow at the time because you think like you think that you're like heading that direction. And then you hit the wall. You realize you can't. Your whole life kind of has to change. And that's what happened to me. My life went from I'm going to have kids to I don't ever want fucking kids. Because to me, I see it as a trade-off, right? My plan for life would have been, had it gone the way that I worked it out, my plan for life would have been having kids, raising those kids up, working a fucking job, blah, 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 right? And when I found out that I couldn't have kids and that I wouldn't have kids, my life became a very different thing. Selfish is, I guess, the word that you would use. chose a smarter move, not having kids, so then take care of some other dude's crotch goblins with your finite resources. Well, I mean, like, look, dude, I am glad. I don't want to poop on dudes that come around and date women who have kids. That is a fucking noble thing, and I had a stepfather, and my stepfather was more of a dad to me than my dad was, especially when I was a young man and not a kid. When I was 10, 11, 12, you know, my mom started dating my stepdad. He stepped into a role at that time in my life and still occupies a role in my life that is fatherly. I don't really have a father figure outside of him. So if it wasn't for men that were willing to step up and, as you put it, raise some other kid's crotch goblins or some other dude's crotch goblins, you know, then kids would miss out on that. And so I think it's a very fucking noble thing for a dude to fall in love with a woman who has children from a previous marriage or whatever the fuck, right? And to take upon him the responsibility of not only being in that kind of fucking relationship, but taking responsibility for that child as well, and stepping into one of the hardest roles in the world with stepfather. That's not an easy place to be. You know, I know that. I'm dating a guy who has a kid. It's no big deal to me. Right. So it is what it is, man. You got to understand that, like, I'm talking from my personal perspective. I would not date anybody that has children. Period. I just do not want that shit. Tissue out here. I need to blow my fucking nose. Oh, that's wonderful. Ugh, sorry about that. I know that's gross, but had to be done. Had to be done. Paul, I'm afraid to get married, but I want love. I don't know what to tell you, bro. You're coming to the wrong guy for that shit. Yeah, love does not equal marriage or vice versa. Yeah, don't have kids if you don't want to have kids, you know, definitely. No chance anyone is taking half my stuff. There you go. Are you the most famous person from your high school? I'm not famous. And the answer is no. Audra McDonald went to my high school. You can look her up. Audra McDonald is a Broadway theater performer that ended up winning a Tony. So I would say that Audra McDonald is the most famous person that went to my high school. Brett Fraser, yeah, the politician. Which scam do you think you would excel at? Religion, Ponzi scheme, religion. 100%. I would be great as a religious, not figurehead necessarily, but like a religious leader, especially in a religion that had counseling like as part of it, like I'd be a great Catholic priest. I'd be a great fucking, I don't know how great of a Catholic priest I'd be in terms of the Catholic Church, but I'd be great at the scam. I'd be great at being a Scientology counselor. I could be a pastor, yes. I would definitely be able to work the religion scam if I wanted to. The Catholic Church will reject you when they realize you're attracted to adults. Oh, I could do it. I could do it. I could also do like alternative type religion stuff. I would be great as like a spiritual counselor, a palmist slash tarot slash, psychic reader. I'd slip right into that shit. You don't make as much money doing shit like that, but it's part of the scam nonetheless. Like I could set up like one of my little dreams. There's a palm reader in Pismo Beach, California that's been there since I was a kid. It's in downtown Pismo. It's a little house that's converted into a shop. It's got a big neon sign with a hand and it says palm reading, psychic, blah, 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 blah. That person has been there since I was a child. And they've lived in fucking Pismo Beach since I was a kid, bullshitting people for a living. To me, that's the gravy train with biscuit wheels right there. I could do that all day. Hey, Fakey left. The only thing I've seen you type for the last 30, 40 minutes is lol. The next lol I see out of you is going to have you ejected the fuck up out of here. Just letting you know. You're getting fucking real annoying with that shit. Remember the guy from your Pentecostal cult episode who was an atheist, went to town scamming people? You'd be great at that, yeah. Yep. I don't care if he's hate watching. He can just silently hate watch like the rest of the people doing it. I don't want to see his fucking empty-headed lolling in my goddamn chat anymore. This ain't a Roblox room. Paul, when your life is a scammer, I mean entrepreneur, what would be your favorite mark? I mean, unfortunately, this is the downside to religious people. It's people that are hurt. That's your mark. Right? Period. People that have been hurt by something, people that have lost somebody. People that are angry, people that are in turmoil. It's everybody, right? But there's a certain type of people that reaches a point where they want to reach outside themselves. It's like being a counselor for people who don't know how to seek counseling, but with the profit motive involved and not the get well motive. See, here's the thing. You might think like, well, how could you do that morally? I don't have a problem indulging people in their fantasies. I'm an actor. I'm a performer. It's part of what I do. So if people are out there seeking it, I don't have a problem being the purveyor of it. You know, it's not like I'm fucking predatorially, if I were to set up a palmistry shop in some town, right? It's not like I'm predatorially walking into their home and trying to take them out of their lives and push them into some kind of cult or whatever. I'm reading a book about Jim Jones. He reminds me of you in some ways. No offense. That's why I asked you the question. No, it's okay. I don't take any offense to that. I actually kind of admire Jim Jones. Not, of course, the evil that he perpetrated and the dark side of him, but his ability to work a crowd, his ability to foment loyalty with just a talk. That I look up to in Jim Jones for sure. It's an act of revolutionary suicide. We got tired. We got tired and we laid down. Death is nothing but a door. All we're doing is walking through that door. Stop that crying. Get the vats, get the vats, get the vats. Come on, people. Awesome episode on Scientology. Very much lived up to the hype. Glad it did. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making it. It was a weird day. It was a fucked up day. I did that show the day I got my second Pfizer shot. So I was feeling like by the time I got it really early in the morning, and then by the time it came time to film the show, I told the guys, I was like, dude, I'm not going to call it off today, but I just want to let you guys know I'm feeling pretty poopy. And they're like, okay. And I thought, you know, if the show doesn't come out the way I want it, we'll do a part 2 or whatever. But it ended up coming out really good. I was able to fucking get through it. Oh, fuck. Marshall Applewhite, not Applegate. Two hours went by fast. I'm glad. We never talked about the whole Xenu thing, because who doesn't know Xenu, right? Who doesn't, like, I intentionally skipped running through the Xenu story again, because who doesn't know who hasn't seen the South Park cartoon a million times, who hasn't heard the basics of the goddamn story? I didn't feel like that part would be informative, so I skipped it. I knew people knew about that shit. We'd already done a show on L. Ron Hubbard where we touched on the Xenu thing. And so I was trying to do, you know, I mean, everybody knows Xenu. So I didn't feel like it would be worth your guys' time to recap something everybody knows. There was a fella by the name of Xemu, could be spelled Xemu, and he was about to be elected supreme ruler. And the people were working to unelect him. And he really goofed the floof. I would really like to do an episode that goes more in depth on Scientology processing. It might be an episode where I just ask one of the guys to do an episode with me. And I think, honestly, TJ would probably be more willing and receptive to have me do some Scientology processing on him for like a longer period of time than I did, really opening him up and getting him to work on what Scientology would call an engram and seeing if I can get him to have what's called a win in Scientology. Stevie, oh yeah. If Stevie was willing to do it, see, that's the thing though, is like Scientology, you have to understand, whoever does it with me would need to have a talk with me before. And they would have to understand that what I'm doing to them, despite what they think about me, that what they're submitting to is allowing me to tinker with their brain a little bit. They need to understand that. I do not want to do what Scientology does to people without that person knowing what I'm doing to them, because they need to understand I'm not trying to act like I'm some kind of wizard or something. They need to respect the tactics that I'm going to be using on them, and they need to understand that they're handing over to me something that is they usually don't give to a person if they engage in this with me. I know a little something about it, and so I also know how manipulative it is. Psychology is everything. Yep. No, I mean, I wouldn't be trying to get that button on TJ. I would be going into it not trying to recruit him to Scientology, but trying to use Scientology processing as it's used in the auditing room, which means getting TJ into a completely loose and limber mental state. Low-level self-hypnosis and low-level guided hypnosis will be used on TJ. I was already starting to use it, and I'm very good at it, by the way. I'm very good at talk level, low-level hypnosis. You absolutely have to do it. The Scientologists, as we covered in the show, they call it straight lining. That's what they call hypnosis. But what you're really learning how to do is put a person into a state of soft hypnosis. And so I would do that with TJ. And once he's there, TJ would be exposed to my scrutiny. And so it would be up to me to make sure that I don't lead TJ down a road that, he would regret going down, or lead TJ down a road where he's too open or whatever the fuck, right? So I would have to be very careful when I'm tinkering around in there. But it would be a really interesting thought experiment to do. It would be really interesting to see a truly willing subject show the process of Scientology auditing in full from start to finish. Or at least the processes behind it. I wouldn't go at it exactly as the Scientologists do. Do you think the reason Scientology is effective is because it uses... Yes, it's 100% psychologically based. If you could have a conversation with L. Ron Hubbard, what would you talk with him about? I mean, it just depends. Like, if I were talking to L. Ron Hubbard in a situation where he had no reason to lie, like if I were able to talk to his spirit or whatever, and have his spirit just be like, all right, well, there's no reason for me to carry on any subterfuge anymore, I would love to have a talk with him just about founding a religion. How he came to the idea, what methods of exploitation were the most important in his founding of the religion, how he found the right timbre and tone to manipulate his audience, how he took it from self-help book to religion, and all of that shit, right? Hubbard was the ultimate scammer. Seems like his scam became larger than he could control, and who turns down that kind of wealth, prestige, and power? Nobody, of course. But I don't think it got larger than he could control. I think he planned it to be as large as it was from the start, and it became that. Like, L. Ron Hubbard was a very driven person. Say what you want about him. There's a lot of lies that he told about himself. But when it comes to this type of shit, he had a purpose. I'm not trying to start a religion. I'm just saying I'm very interested in human psychology and the psychology that surrounds religious thought and religious practice. Well, you got to understand a lot of these expressions that he used were very transatlantic in nature. He had a very transatlantic way of speaking that comes off as very jokey now, like goofy, but back in the day it was not as goofy. You have to understand he was talking to people in the way that a lot of celebrities and talking heads, news personalities, etc. talked. Well received. He was a pulp writer, so you have to understand, Nod Narb. Well received doesn't necessarily mean that unsuccessful. The dude was the most prolific sci-fi writer of all time, and probably one of the most prolific writers of all time, if not the most prolific writer of all time. He wrote some insane amount of books and stories, an insane amount of words. Before he founded the Church of Scientology, when he was making his nut as a pulp fiction writer, he was unparalleled. And we're talking about people like H.P. Lovecraft and fucking all these bigger names that went on to have these huge literary careers, right? Started as pulp novelists, but he just made his nut doing that. Penny a word kind of shit. And made a real name for himself and had a real audience for his work that wasn't necessarily reflected in book sales until he wrote Dianetics. When he got out of the fiction category and started doing science fiction / self-help, that's when he became explosively popular as an author. That book sold like fucking wildfire. Very pronounced enunciation. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all. If you really listen to L. Ron Hubbard, you keep your mind open to the idea that he's speaking in a cadence that is anachronistic now. He had a very deliberate pace that kind of lulls you. I've listened to a lot of L. Ron Hubbard lectures, and they are almost an exercise in self-hypnosis. You hear a lot of clips of L. Ron Hubbard. It's hard to get an idea of how he speaks. But if you listen to some of the lectures that Scientologists listen to, which can be kind of hard to find, of course, these are very protected religious privileged documents, right? But you can find them in various forms online. And these lectures, when you listen to the way he talked and worked a room, you can hear that manipulation happening. You can feel it on yourself. You feel yourself being lulled into a state of openness as he talks, even as you know that you're listening to a charlatan, because of the way that he uses his cadence, and because of the way he very deliberately pronounces things, and because of the way that he uses his tone of voice to create a constant wave, like it's what he would call theta. It's really just charisma. Yeah, TV ads for Dianetics, of course. Well, see, that's the point, though, lobotomies, is that you have to, like, a really, truly skilled manipulator will make you feel how they want you to feel without telling you or revealing to you that that's how they want you to feel. The real key to somebody's mind, okay? And this is, like, what I'm about to tell you is incredibly powerful, but it's not powerful in the hands of most people because most people never take the time to learn it. The most powerful tool of manipulation, put very simply, is to make a person believe that they came to your conclusion themselves. I want you to think about that. Make a person believe that they came to your conclusion by themselves of their own volition. That is how you manipulate a person. That's how you change a mind, right? So this could be very benign. You could keep this in mind when you're using political argumentation, right? Or you can use it to very, very deeply over time psychologically manipulate a person and mold a person. It can be used very nefariously. Hey, wait, you're pretty good at that. I got to tell you guys, no, this is really, really like true important shit. And I'm not claiming to have some kind of fucking superpower. I'm not the best person in the world at this, but I study it. I'm a student of it. How do you do that, though? Somebody, I think it was Zach in the chat, said inception. And that's exactly how you do it. Instead of going directly at a person confrontationally, you incept the idea in the mind, into their mind. You work backwards from a premise. It's like what the Nazis did, right? The Nazis would, and Derek Jensen talks about the Nazis in this way a lot. The Nazis were able to sneak the premise by you. So they wouldn't say, these Jews are the problem. They would say, what are we going to do about this Jewish problem? What can we do about this problem? See what he's done, right? Snuck the premise by you. So in one line, he's got you thinking, yeah, what do we do about this problem? He snuck the premise by you that there's a Jewish problem, that the Jews are a problem, that something should be done about the Jews, right? All of that just by the way he presented it. See, Hitler's minister of propaganda was Joseph Goebbels. And Joseph Goebbels helped Hitler develop his speaking style in order to incept, as you will, these ideas into his speeches, so that he was not giving conclusions to the German people, he was leading them to his conclusion, exactly the way that I am talking about. This is why I'm telling you that knowing this is incredible. You can use this very nefariously, obviously, right? This idea, like, even if you know about it, why do you pronounce Goebbels with an R? I don't know. Should I not? Is it Goebbels? Goebbels? I don't know. If I'm saying it wrong, I've heard it pronounced Joseph Goebbels my whole life. And I'm pretty sure that might be the correct pronunciation of it. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Goebbels? I don't think that's his name. I've heard, like, in every goddamn fucking Nazi documentary and shit that I've ever watched, it's Joseph Goebbels. Yeah, I know. The subject just fucking got completely obliterated by this. But anyway, that's the whole point, is that what we're talking about here, even if you're aware of it, is you're very susceptible to it, and groups of people are even more susceptible to it. So when you're talking to a group of people, it's much easier to sneak the premise by a group, right? But it is shockingly easy to do this even one-on-one. Paul, were you always a leftist? As an adult, yes. As a child, no. As a child, my nascent political ideas came from my dad, who, by the time he started involving me in that shit, had taken a hard right turn and was like a Limbaugh conservative type of guy. And so my early years were spent listening to Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levin, these conservative talk commentator folks. Oh yeah, these techniques that I'm talking about are used every fucking second of every day by people in marketing. That's why you need to understand that I'm not just bullshitting you here. I'm not just like pretending to be some kind of amazing Kreskin guy. I know a little bit about this shit and I know how to employ it. I'm not some master of it, but this is not some bullshit tactic. This is being used on you every day by companies, by the government. It's just the people work backwards from the conclusion. It's a way of working backwards to the conclusion without tripping a lot of people's fucking alarms when people do that. If I were you guys, I would stop with the Goebbels memeing. It's starting to get real fucking annoying in the chat. So next time I see somebody making an unfunny Goebbels pronunciation joke, that was already an aside that I shouldn't have fucking entertained. So next motherfucker that does it, that's about it. What you described is why useful idiot exists, when people come to their own normative conclusion. Exactly. What is the part of Scientology you think is most nefarious personally? This. What we're talking about here. Scientology processing is sitting a person down and using these manipulation techniques in a very, very, very nefarious way in order to get a person to reveal things about themselves that are then taken down as notes by the processor to be used as buttons or blackmail on that person later. That is the most nefarious thing about Scientology. That's what keeps people connected to it. That's what keeps people in it. Because they have every right to be, they have every reason to be afraid that Scientology will use that shit against them. They enter into a contract, a religious fucking contract, saying it would be like a Catholic priest, right? Catholics have this whole sanctity of fucking confessee, right? It's almost like a doctor. You know, they have to be compelled to give testimony about that shit. And it's very hard to do it. And so they're lured into a system like that, but Scientology has no such ethics. So it's like, whereas you could go into a confession booth at a Catholic church, right, and say, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Yes, my child, when was your last confession? My last confession was 2 months ago. What have you done, my child? I slept around with my husband. I cheated on him. I've been doing it for 2 months, Father. Why have you done this? Well, blah, 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 blah. You go through the whole fucking thing, right, with the Catholic, and he will tell you, do 5, 10, 25 Hail Marys, 100 our Fathers, and stop what you're doing. And you walk out of there feeling like you have some form of absolution. You've just shared a deep, dark secret with a person that you barely know, but the chances of that person using that against you are much lower in the Catholic Church. Not impossible, but much lower in the Catholic Church than they are in Scientology. The whole point in Scientology is to use those things against people, to get people into that soft psychological state where they reveal their real true selves to you. You write it all down. Oh, this person thinks they might be gay. Okay, this person cheated on their wife. Gotcha. This person is sexually promiscuous. Gotcha. This person has tried a bunch of drugs. Used to have a drug problem. All that shit that people don't wear on their sleeve out in public. is now sitting in a folder in Scientology's office. You know it. You've seen it used against other people, so it's implicit that they'd use it against you. There it is. Everybody's got dirt. I don't think it's religion perfected, but I think it definitely learned from past religions, incorporated parts of Eastern mysticism, Catholic confessional, Christian mythology, wove it all together with L. Ron Hubbard's weird space opera shit, tons of psychological manipulation, and boom, there you got it. You got a fucking... they don't give you, it's not even that, dude. It would be genius if people give you their secrets for free. People pay to give you their secrets in Scientology. They pay for the privilege. Every time you sit down for Scientology counseling, you're out of pocket a couple $100. You pay them to give you all your secrets. For you to give them all your secrets. You pay them for the privilege. Tell me that's not the greatest fucking scam in the world. Tell me that's not something that you need to learn from. Not only that, so like that's what they do to their parishioners. If you're not a parishioner of Scientology, they come after you and they try and find those things out about you through investigative means. So if you're not going to come and give them your what they call crimes, then they hire private investigators to follow you around and document you cheating on your wife, document you, hopefully, like the worse the better, right? The worse the dirt they can find on you, the better. But with no reason other than to destroy you personally, they hire a private investigator to follow you around and take pictures of you everywhere you go, dig through your trash, dig through your phone records, and all that shit. What are your crimes? What have you done? What are you trying to hide? And that's why, like, I think it would be simultaneously really fun to do that, but I would have to really make sure that I was careful to do like an actual half hour or 45 minutes of Scientology processing with TJ or somebody that was willing to really show the power of it. But I would have to be super ultra careful. I would have to be so careful about the topic that I picked. Because you can be so, I don't know, you just have, like I said, I do not like the idea of being that manipulative to a friend of mine or possibly dredging up things or psychological harm to a friend of mine. But and it's definitely like practicing fucking psychology without a license, 100%. 100%. So, you know, I'd have to be very fucking careful about it. The person that whoever I did this with would have to be fucking straight up aware of what they were going into. That's the point. It's like, I think it would be insanely interesting for some people to see me do that, just to see the process, and to talk, and then to have a show based around talking about that process. But also, you know, I want to be fucking... You need a license for it? Absolutely not. It's called social engineering. You don't need a license to read a book. It's a great video series called Infiltrating Scientology on YouTube. In one of the episodes, the church told the undercover guy that to buy their book instead of purchasing groceries to eat. Oh yeah. No, it's fucking crazy. I mean, they're nuts. They want to they want to suck every bit of money they can get out of you. If they get the feeling, because like sometimes Scientology will approach you with this idea that like, you know, they want to get you in for a long time, but they don't really want that. Like they know that you're not a person that's going to be in a long time, so they want to juice you for as much as they can get you while you're there. So paranoid of manipulation, I see it everywhere. It's not 100% avoidable, but I think the very best, I'm able to recognize it better than most people. It's the one thing I like about myself. Yeah, you got to be aware. I mean, fucking sharing is caring, right? Another example of these tactics used on all of us daily is corpse collecting cookies and other data to curate our interest and sliding the premise each time we buy in. They profit from it all. Yes, you're absolutely right, Ingvar. Or Ignar. You are absolutely right. Oh shit. I accidentally timed you out, Johnny. I'm sorry. Dude, I accidentally fucking clicked timed out Johnny. Oh, at least I didn't ban him. Hopefully. Sorry, Johnny. I don't know what you said. I was trying to read what you said and whoopsie daisy. Misfire at the range, dude. Spectre down, Spectre down. My bad. Friendly fire. I know, dude. I team killed, dude. I TK'd fucking Johnny. I'm sorry, Johnny. In the pipe, 5x5. I love this topic, but without being able to demonstrate it, I don't know, it loses a little bit of its luster for people, I think. Paul accidentally timing people is funny as fuck. It happens all the time, dude. I'm an idiot. Accidentally banning, timing, just being a genuine moron. But did you read the Communist Manifesto? I've read it. I've actually listened to it not that long ago. It wasn't like just a few months ago. I think it was last year. I listened to it as I was going to sleep. I just got audiobook format of it, and I listened to the Communist Manifesto. What do I think of it? I think that it's worth studying. I think there are some good ideas in communism, but I think that we need a new way forward. I'm an advocate for a new idea, maybe incorporating some communistic ideas, but a new paradigm. I don't think that we have explored the depth and breadth of human political possibility, and I don't think that the answers always lie in past political systems. What are Johnny's crimes? You didn't accidentally do it. You acted on your intuitions and you took care of a problem. Johnny has a lot to think about. Man, why are you gaslighting Johnny, dude? What's the best defense against Scientology? Knowing it, knowing what it is. Like, the best defense against any of this shit that I'm talking about, not just Scientology. I mean, this started with us talking about Scientology, really, but the psychological manipulation techniques that I'm talking about here, the best defense against them is knowing that they exist and practicing them yourself in an ethically gray fucking way, so that you know how it works, so that it doesn't work on you, so you can spot it when it's coming. Hello, Honest Red. How are you tonight? Understanding it and being able to spot it. Yes. And see, here's the downside of doing that, though. If you really start looking at the world through that lens, you see it everywhere. And it's truthfully is everywhere. So it's like, with knowledge comes power, and with power comes responsibility. So just realize that you won't, like, if you really start looking into this, what I'm talking about, because we've just brushed against the subject tonight. Psychological manipulation, sneaking the premise by, incepting ideas into people. We've just brushed the first little layer of this subject tonight, right? But once you start being a student of that shit and you start looking for it, you see it everywhere. Politics, religion, advertising, fucking family dynamics. You're just like, oh my fucking God, bro. Nationalism, war, the media, the culture at your work, the way that your boss interacts with you, the way that you interact with your boss, it's laden with this shit. Well, you don't need to be paranoid about it, Sarah. Like, you're aware of it. Like, paranoia to a certain extent is good when it comes to shit like this. If you let it carry you down some absurd conclusion, then that's wrong. But the idea that it's going on and knowing that it's going on and knowing that it takes many forms, some benign, some not benign, you don't have to be paranoid. I'm paranoid of my own subconscious manipulating me. Well, oh shit, Johnny's back. Friendly fire. Johnny's back at the respawn. All right, let's huddle up, people. Had a friendly fire incident, okay? It has been 0 days since our last friendly fire incident. Well, that's a good thing, Sarah. I mean, like, look, anybody that keeps their own counsel has to take the responsibility of knowing themselves better than most people do. I really, really, really recommend that you learn to keep your own counsel and really learn what that means. It doesn't necessarily mean you shut out the wisdom of other people. It means that you learn how to make your own mind up about things and you don't look to other people to give you that. That's keeping your own counsel. And if you do that, you have to be aware of your mind's own traps, the traps that you set for yourself. But that's all about knowing yourself. That's something that you have to do. You have to know yourself. We have something to aim towards, at least. Sure. Any book recommendations on this subject? I don't have a book recommendation for you, but I will recommend a documentary by Adam Curtis. There's a number of them. There's the 20th Century of the Self that delves into this extensively. And there's, I believe it's a book, actually. I can't remember who wrote it, called Manufacturing Consent. So you can check those out. Any kind of in-depth study on a manipulative religion or cults. I've done a lot of studying of the People's Temple and the Jonestown cult. I've done a lot of studying of Scientology. 10 years of deliberate Scientology study will teach you a lot about psychological manipulation, or give you a lot of prompts in order to learn about different aspects of this shit. I've done a lot of psychedelics, and they've impacted me personally by, I don't know, giving me experiences outside of my own perception of reality, reminding me that my perception is a narrow window. Manufacturing consent is gnome. Yeah. The gnome chomper. Shrooms or acid? Yes, please. Can you remember a time in your life where you had an existential crisis? Sure. Existential crises are part of the human condition. We all have them. A lot of people don't recognize them as such, but we all have existential crises. An existential crisis can take the form of just feeling out of place, feeling like a marionette in your own life, feeling like you are wrong in some way, or that you don't fit, or that something about your existence is uncanny. This is a human condition brought on by our consciousness, right? The kind of difference between us and the animal kingdom. Our consciousness is the result of existential dread. When we realize the finite nature of our lives, it can cause us to have this kind of cascading crisis of, well, if I'm meaningless, then everything is meaningless, then what is everything? Existential crises are rooted in that feeling, not necessarily all adjacent to that. So to give you an example, when I was young, I came very close in my teens to coming out as bisexual. I tried to come out to my stepdad because I felt very comfortable with him, and he was a masculine influence in my life that I needed. And I tried to come out to him, and we were swimming in the pool together. It was just him and I. And we were just floating around on a hot summer's night in the pool, just chilling. And I asked him, I didn't come right out and say it because I didn't know how to say it. So I asked him, have you ever been been attracted to a dude? And he wasn't mean about it, but he just said, no, nope. He's like, are you attracted to dudes? And I was like, no. No, I mean, it's just like, hormones and stuff. And this is just weird. I'm just wondering, He was like, nope, never have. And that's where it just ended for me. And, like for him, he probably didn't realize that that's what I was doing. Right. But for me, that set off what I would call an existential crisis in my life, because it was at that point that I realized that, like, the person that I trust and that I think loves me the most isn't willing to hear that part of you. And it wasn't his fault. He answered me honestly, right? And I did not come right out to him. But as a teenager, me even touching on that subject was so at the core of everything I was ashamed of. And to have it be immediately rebuffed was just proof to me that there was something fucking deeply wrong with me. So I was looking down the pipe of my life and seeing having to hide it. And I did. For fucking 38 years, I hid it. I didn't come out until I was 38 years old. You know what I mean? So that, and the time surrounding that was a very memorable time of existential crisis in my life. I had to reinvent what I was. I mean, isolating is what it is. It's worse. Think about if I was a gay guy. Think if I was completely and utterly gay, and think of how my life would have had to been a total lie, right? So because I was bisexual, I was able to limit my dating pool in such a way that kept me from any criticism and allowed me to keep in the closet and not be sexually unfulfilled by what I was doing. And so, you know what I mean? It's rough for anybody, dude. It's absolutely true, and people should understand that it's hard for bisexual people, but they also need to understand that it's not the same thing as being gay when it comes to the experience. It just can't be, you know? I told my dad I was questioning that I might be bi. He told me, if you ever act on those thoughts, you're no longer my son. We don't talk much anymore. Oh yeah. I mean, that's unfortunately a very common thing. I really don't know how my parents would have reacted back then. I don't know. I think it probably would have not been great. I don't think they would have ostracized me or kicked me out of the family or anything, but I think that there would have been some fucked up things said to me and some shaming and this, that, and the other thing. And so I avoided all that. And midlife crisis is a pretty common one people have, suddenly realizing you're going to die sooner than later. Yeah, pretty common. Pretty common for people to fall into that trap. Well, that get like when you first came out, your mom said, "Where did I go wrong?" and was crying, and she had this guilt on herself. It was weird. That guilt was for you. That display that she gave was to make you feel guilty about breaking her heart somehow for being what you are. Total manipulation. Totally fucked up that she did that to you. She has no right to fucking weep over what you are. Yep, manipulation. Yep. That fucking display of crying that had nothing to do with her feeling guilty. That had everything to do with making you feel guilty because you being what you are broke her heart. Total manipulation. Terrible. It's possible to overstate the power that parents have over their children. Is Scientology against homosexuality? Vehemently. They will tell you at the beginning that they don't, but then they will process the fuck out of you and eventually tell you that you're not gay and that you have to stop being gay if you want to progress farther in the church, because homosexuality is an engram. So they will work on your homosexuality with you until you believe that they'll gaslight you into believing that you were never homosexual in the first place. That's what they do. There are a lot of gay people in Scientology who are utterly repressed because Hubbard believed that homosexuality was an engram. Tom Cruise, yeah. There's wide speculation that Tom Cruise is the very least bisexual. The same thing for fucking, what's his name? Travolta. Of course, I'm glad to hear that you've grown as a person, Ingar. I mean, that's 100% of the point, right? What does not kill you maketh you stronger. Johnny getting caught kissing a dude on the way up to his plane. Huh? If we're all eternal beings, why does it matter what other entities we sleep with? Because those eternal beings that we are, the Thetans that we are perfect. And it is the BTs and engrams that make us imperfect. Two men can never reproduce, therefore their union is not perfect, therefore based on an engram. Two women cannot reproduce, therefore imperfect, therefore their union is based on an engram. Or a BT. You've seen Scientology booths at Pride? Guess what? Guess what they're there for? To deconvert people. They love showing an accepting face to the world. You get into that church and you're gay, you won't last long. Paid the gay away, yeah. Got a copy of Dianetics at Pride as a joke a few years ago. Throw that shit in the fucking garbage. The dude that wrote that book was a vehement anti-homosexual and a closeted bisexual himself. A self-loathing, self-hating bisexual man. If I get my OT level high enough, I can finally be straight. Yep. This is uplifting. Yeah, right? Life is just a wonderful game that's meant to be uplifting for you. I'm sorry. I forgot that life is just a bed of roses that's meant to uplift your spirits. It's all just fun and games. Why do you think there's biphobia in the LGBT community? For the very reason that I talked about earlier, because bisexual people have an out that gay people don't in order to live what's considered to be a more functionally front-facing normal life. That's why. And most bisexuals freely admit that shit. Like, we're not trying to ask for the same exact fucking status or to be treated like gay people because our experience is different. We're asking that our experience be recognized in the LGBT community because we suffer too. My whole life, I suffered being called a faggot. I suffered under the fucking impression that the part of me that wanted to sleep with men was dirty and functionally fucking wrong, and I hid it away from the world my whole fucking life. That makes me part of the fucking LGBTQ community alone. It doesn't mean that my experience was somehow worse than a gay man's experience would have been or a lesbian woman's experience would have been. It doesn't mean I'm trying to fucking weasel my way in. It means that I suffered like all fucking LGBTQ people suffer from discrimination and an environment of extreme hate growing up. And that's all it is, dude. That's where it comes from in the LGBTQ community. They feel like bisexual people are like pretenders or only half gay. They're trying to weasel in and fly the same flag as a gay man who suffered more persecution, right? I've never talked to a bisexual person who feels that way. All of us realize that it was very different for us, bisexual people, to be closeted than it was for any gay or lesbian person. We're not asking for your status. We're asking to join you in the fight for people like us and people like you. In the 90s, being gay itself was a punchline in movies. Being gay, being trans, being bisexual, it was a punchline. It was something that meant to imply sexual promiscuity, sexual deviancy. It was just a big fat fucking joke. I gotta get a drink. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. You stay right there now. Goddamn little zany the man. I've been doing a regiment of yoga stretches that have been strengthening my core and changing how my back works. Like, I still have a lot of back pain, but I can feel that my back is loosening up and shit. So I've got like, I do downward facing dog, which is this, you know, kind of go down on your knees and you stretch out in front of yourself and you do that stretch into the rising serpent, I think it's called, where you go from that position all the way forward to this like arching back stretch on your belly. And you push that as long as you can. Then you go back and forth between those. And then I do cow and cat, which is you're on your hands and knees. Cow is when you push your spine out like this, so it has a curve like this. And cat is where you curve your spine on it. So I do that after stretching and stuff, and then do some normal like floor stretches for just limberness and shit. And I'm telling you, dude, I've only been doing it for about a week, but I see a total fucking difference. I see a total fucking difference, dude. My back is just constantly fucked, right? Am I ever gonna join a gym? I don't know. Maybe. Oh. Would you agree that aliens existing has a higher probability than ghosts existing? Sure. Yeah. I agree. Thanks for the $10. I just got home from a bar. A taxi driver missed my turn twice. He kept saying stuff like, "Why would I want to bring you home?" When he finally pulled into my drive, he said he didn't want me to go. Ugh. Gross. Dude, that's fucking just... Dude, we need to get rid of... We need driverless cars now. Dude, I can't even imagine Here's what fucks me up about this shit. All right, there was a period of time, and I feel really fucking guilty about this shit. I feel super guilty about this. And I don't even think I've ever fucking told my ex that I'm guilty about this. When I was dating my ex, Ashley, she was a younger woman, and I just put her on my fucking Uber account and had her Ubering around everywhere. Like when we lived in Washington, especially, I was like, we don't need a car. Just get an Uber. And she did. But to think that I was putting her in that position of getting in a fucking car with a dude that might just kidnap her and rape her or something, it makes me fucking sick. I never even thought of it that way. See, you don't think of shit like that until the idea is placed in your mind that that shit is fucking happening. Yep. We need fucking driverless shit now. And you should report the fuck out of whoever that was to the police. Dead honest. If I were you, I would call the police and say that your cab driver fucking abducted you. And file a police report now. That should not fucking go by the wayside. Because he's gonna fucking rape somebody. I'd get on the fucking phone now. You don't have to call 911, but I'd call the goddamn police department and make a police report and tell them exactly what fucking happened to you. And report them to the company, too, after you're done doing that. And give them the police report number. Because, like, yeah, he was implying rape or abduction with you. He was refusing to take you to your fucking destination. You're drunk. That motherfucker needs to... Like, if I were in your position, I'd be on the... Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying. If that had happened to me, I'd be on the fucking phone. Oh, it's already happened. It's happened multiple times where an Uber or Lyft driver or whatever, a taxi driver, has raped or assaulted somebody, kidnapped. It happens. Yeah, that sounds like somebody that's hyping themselves up for doing some fucking fucked up shit someday. I'd get him fucking reported, because what he did was 100% illegal to you. You are not allowed to fucking drive somebody around or refuse to take them home and shit where they can't get out of their car. Like, he's bonded. He's a fucking driver. So he broke the law tonight. And I report that shit. Don't let that motherfucker do that shit. Because one of these nights, he's going to find somebody that he thinks is drunk enough to pull him off to the side of the road and do some shit to him. Oh, yeah, bear mace for sure. Some kind of self-protection for sure. A kitty keychain. Something that you can fucking do some damage with. That type of shit, I'm telling you, man. Just the insinuation you're reporting right now, I wouldn't want another... Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. I know it's hard. I know it is fucking hard to fucking do that, but you're gonna save somebody with that shit. I know it's tough, but that shit was not a joke what happened to you tonight. You report that motherfucker. You give them like, if you used an app or whatever to order that shit, you give them all the information you can about your fucking cab driver. Whatever you remember, you get that motherfucker. Fuck yeah. Get that motherfucker. Because I was just about to say, when you fucking posted your shit, that type of behavior is a huge red flag. People do not do that to one another. Men do not do that to women. That is not normal. That is not okay. any dude that has ever kept a woman somewhere against her will or implied that he was going to or played around with that fucking type of shit, that implies that there's something functionally really fucking wrong with that person. Really wrong. That type of power dynamic is not a joke. Not a joke. Pretty sure cab companies make the drivers post their ID in the bag viewable to passengers, but I may be wrong. I'm sure that there are rules about that. Those rules have changed since unbonded cab drivers are now doing it, but they're like, if you use an app, they know exactly who fucking picked you up. You know what I mean? So that right there at least gets past that accountability gap. How much you know about Attila the Hun? Not much. App tracks their phone GPS, if I'm not mistaken, and can record if he circled your block with you in it. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, if he did what he said he was doing and you did an app-based like Lyft or Uber, all that shit is fucking visible. They will see that he fucking circled your block and wouldn't let you out, kept missing your destination and shit. That type of fucking shit is not cool. He should be fired, maybe even criminally prosecuted. He fucking kidnapped you. Fact that drivers are largely being recognized as freelance contractors only exacerbates the predation potential. Oh, absolutely, yeah. It just adds another layer of fucking unaccountability to it. Full show. Whew, fuck, man, dude. I'm on the front end of some time off. I am feeling so incredibly good about that. I just sorely need it. Our shooting schedule is fucking brutal. We just did 3 solid weeks of brutal fucking 6-day, 6-hour days in front of the cameras. That's just the shooting, not the meetings. And it was fucking crazy. Cool. Constant content. Then I do these, you know what I mean? And these are good, but these are all part of that. And just like, oh, yeah, dude. And then this little bit of time that we have off, I'm gonna try and get us up somewhere. Do some camping, some overnight, something. My sister was in here earlier talking about how she wants to do some fucking camping. Fucking A, bro. I'm down. I'm gonna call her tomorrow. Bear River is nice if you were up towards Sacramento. Dope. Yeah, I don't know where we'll end up going. I know some of the areas around here that are good for camping. I want to go up high enough to where we can get some good stargazing done. So I want to get up above the smog and shit. So I don't know. I know a couple of places. Yeah, we're going to the Sierras for sure. That I know for sure. You want to go to the ocean? Just came back from the ocean not that long ago. What was it? When did I do the daycation? Few weeks ago. And I'll be going to the ocean for a little longer time in July. So I can share with you guys a little something. Not to overshare our plans or whatever, but and you guys will probably hear a little more about this, but the guys and I will be getting together for the first time since lockdown in July. They're coming to California. We're going to take a little road trip and visit my mom. We're going to go to the beach, and we are going to go to LA for a very specific reason. I don't know that a meetup is going to be feasible or possible with this short amount of time, but we have a very specific business related reason to go to LA. We will be shooting some content, and that's all I'm going to put. That's all I'm going to say about that, but it's going to be so fucking cool. I'm so stoked. I had to share it with you guys because you guys like watch my friendship with the guys that I work with. It has been over a year since I have gotten to chill with these dudes, smoke with these dudes, hang out with these guys. Fucking. So I am 100% jazzed. But baked into that is a little bit of R&R time and a little bit of team building time for us at the beach. So I am so fucking jazzed, man. I'm so jazzed to see everybody again, give some big hugs, smoke a J with everybody, and just fucking kick my feet up and chillax, have a fucking good time, and shoot some fucking content. Some awesome content. Baked into that, yeah. Getting to work with great friends is a rare thing. True dat. Do you think you would ever do a stream where you interview your own mom? I've asked her. I think it would be really interesting. She is not interested, and so I respect that. There was one time when I was actually staying with my mom. We were back visiting, and I did a stream from my mom's back porch. One of these, just a Hydeology from my mom's back porch. And she came out and said something, and I was like, "Hey, mom, I'm streaming. You want to come say hi to everybody?" And she was like, went back inside. She's not into it. She doesn't want to be like a public figure or whatever. So I totally respect that. Me and my sister, maybe. Like, once again, I don't foist this on anybody. This type of shit, like, I'm very protective of my family. Adults are adults. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But by the same token, like, I'm not pushy with it. I don't involve people in my content that don't want to be involved. I don't point the camera at Amelia, not because I don't want you guys to see her or whatever, but because I want there to be, she likes, and she also likes there to be a little bit of separation between her and what I do. She likes sitting out here with me and talking with me sometimes and participating in these, and I love when she does, but she doesn't necessarily want to be front and center in the content, and I respect that, and so we don't do that. What if you interviewed as a part of the book, just write down questions and have her write her answers? That could be a possibility for sure. How did your family view you being a public figure? As a novelty. It's a novelty to them. They don't, like, it freaks them out. Like, all my cousins, like, that are all my age, all have kids, and all their kids are fucking, like, blown away. They overhear me talking about what I do, and they're like, "Do I usually say you have a podcast?" I tell them, and they look, and they see how many subscribers we have, and they see our shit, and they're like, "Whoa!" They're all fucking jazzed about it. It's just a novelty to them. They don't really understand, like, you know what I mean? The older ones especially, they don't really understand what it is I'm doing. They're happy I'm making money, that's about it. You guys, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the coyote pack has taken a kill. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Pretty distant. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. They got Johnny Bumpins. No, Johnny Bumpins, no. They got the fucking roosters all worked up. Middle of the night, and the roosters are cock-a-doodle doing because the fucking coyotes are around. Oh, man. It's getting real. Kind of ominous. It definitely is. I mean, the night is dark and full of terrors, after all. Yeah, they've got the roosters all fucking up in arms right now. Life is a horror movie. Yep. That's why I love the genre of horror. What would you do if you were that girl with the bear in her backyard? Same thing, dude. If it was trying to get Dinor, I'd punch the fuck out of that bear and run. Oh, man. Oh, fuck. Whoa, got dizzy with that one. That was one of those fucking deep adjustments that makes you lightheaded for a second. Whew. Got a little cracky. Oh, dude, my spine is so much like it's moving so much more than it normally does. Like I have so much more like movement, and it makes me want to stretch all the fucking time now. Since I've been doing that yoga shit that I was talking about, like I've gained so much, like I've regained so much like flexibility in my spine that it makes me want to constantly be moving in ways that I normally can't without a lot of pain. Spine is coming back to life. My poor back is coming back to life, y'all. Still hurts like a motherfucker, but I'll be damned if it isn't better. Nope, never tried foundation training. Only bringing it back to life to abuse it again. Well, yeah, we're all abusing our bodies to the very end, you know. If I get a little bit of mobility back for the years that I'm going to abuse it before I croak, then awesome. A little less pain, a little less anguish in my life. You gonna deny me that? You can't take it with you. That's true. You're going out one way or the other. No, I'm just, I'm trying to. I Another thing that makes me feel good about all this is just doing those stretches has my abs, pecs, triceps, and biceps not like fucking sore like I've been pumping iron, but sore like I know they're getting a workout from it, which is good. Especially like these abs. It's like not just the like uh, touching myself. You can't see like where, but not just like here, but like around the sides too. These like side muscles here that go around the side of you. All that core shit is getting like worked out. My pecs, like up here, this shit's all sore. Hell yeah. It's good though. Toy like a toiger. Soon you'll be able to yourself through the air like E Honda. Oh my god. Would you give your kid fast food? In moderation, probably. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end this. Go inside, wind down, get some sleep. Thanks for joining.